On Friday, we received the nomination of the Reverend Dr. Karen Georgia Thompson as an Associate General Minister and the renomination of the Reverend Dr. John C. Dorhauer as General Minister and President of the United Church of Christ. We will vote on their nominations now. We'll begin with the Reverend Karen Georgia Thompson. The nomination comes from the board and does not require a second. Is there any debate? I think we're ready to vote. If you would have your clickers ready. If you are in favor of the election of the Reverend Dr. Karen Georgia Thompson, you will press 1. If you oppose, press 2. If you are abstaining, press 3. Voting begins now. Congratulations, Karen Georgia. Now to the re-election of the Reverend Dr. Don Dorhauer. The nomination comes from the board, does not require a second. I invite debate.
We are way overdue for a woman's leadership. The responsibility for challenging white male hegemony is ours. It is time to do a new thing. I will vote no on the election of John Dorhauer.
I ask that you vote yes for John because not only he is a white male, yes, but he also is someone who cares about others and brings those people to the forefront and really wants to hear all people in the conversation.
I would encourage all of us to question why the board made the decision all the way back in September to re-nominate Reverend Dorhauer, and what work could continue to be done moving forward to consider other candidates more fully. I will be voting no.
I don't believe that a no vote will solve what I see as systemic problems in the leadership, in the top leadership of the board.
I just have a question about the process. If Reverend Dorhauer is not reelected, what happens?
The answer to the question is, in the event that the General Minister and President is not reelected by a 60% margin of those who are voting, the United Church Board is empowered and authorized to elect an interim General Minister and President from the Associate General Ministers.
His work to uplift women in ministry is commendable. However, an ally to women would step aside so that she may lead.
As a Black woman who's openly gay, I realize that it is important that we have representation, but in a time such as these. It is important that the person who is at the helm is able to conversate with those who look like them.
There's many reasons that I support this nomination, but I would like to, in doing so, call on Reverend Dorhauer to commit to not running for a third term.
I would like to respond to the request from the delegate from Ohio and assure the body I intend not to run for a third term.
And while I agree that it is time for a woman or a person of color or a person of LGBTQIA persuasion to take leadership roles, I would suggest that the Holy Spirit does not recognize such distinctions. John Dorhauer has the Holy Spirit.
I'm concerned about where we're going, and I think it's time for a change, so I'm going to vote no.
Voting begins now. Those voting in favor of the election were 447 votes cast. Those opposed were 210 votes cast. Those abstaining were 38 votes cast. I declare that the 60% margin has more than been reached and that John Dorhauer is duly elected as General Minister and President of the United Church of Christ. the incoming and retiring officers of the United Church of Christ. Let us give thanks to God for their leadership and their care of our beloved church.